this time. Okay, go. Yo, shalom, shalom. Alright, I'm at you. What you have? What I'm? Alright. This ease, everybody please. Alright, call Halayim La Noah.
Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, Yahushua, Ba'Hashem, Kakodash.
Alright, shalom to you sincere brothers out there. Alright, and shalom. Well, it's like, I want to give double honors to the elders of Great Millstone, and shalom to you sincere brothers out there, teaching truth and sincerity. Alright, we're the Hebrew Israelites back out here once again to prophesy the downfall of Esau's kingdom and to bring remembrance to the children of Israel, which consists of so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, to bring them back to our power, which is Yahweh. Alright, to our Lord Yahushua, to Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushua. Yahweh means he is, Ba'Hashem means in the name, Yahushua means he saves and he delivers. Alright? So well that this camp session is edifying unto you brothers out there, and a few meta sisters, and exhorting unto you. So I don't worry about the Zah. You know, we're just gonna roll in the spirit with prophecy and just, you know, anything else that the spirit wants us to go into from there. Alright, so First of all, I want to mention that I read an article that over there in Africa is having a world war of bread, all right, because of the war with Ukraine, all right. So this war that's happening over there in Ukraine with Russia and Ukraine. I can't even see it. So the war that's happening over there in Ukraine is causing massive inflation across the four corners of the earth at the moment, right? And this is all just going to keep increasing. They said they have to do everything they can to stop it. That a famine is going to come, but they have to stop it. But they can't stop it because according to prophecy, this is going to happen and it's going to be out of the control. They ignited the fire and they can't put it out, all right? They ignited that fire and they can't put it out. I got that Isaiah 47.
I gotta elaborate more on that. The thing about it, Esau pretty much he lost control, because even though they're trying to slow down the famine, but what they did also, they're trying to slow down the gas prices, right? It's soaring, right? So what's going on is that Esau now he's pushing for more ethanol. You know, ethanol is it's like alcohol from corn, right? So initially, when he started that ethanol thing to mix it with gas, you know, it was 15%. So now this devil, he's signing for more production, like to squeeze more out of the corn, to add more ethanol to gas, because the gas price is so high. So he's trying to bring that gas price kind of like down to try to keep it control. But what's that going to do? It's going to take away more from the table. It's going to take more from the food. You know, so that's like ethanol now taking corn away from the table. So that's less food now. So what's going to happen to the food price? It's going to start even more. It's going to go even more higher now. You know, so that's more inflation now.
Yeah, it's just gonna keep getting worse and worse and worse. All right, so let's get up in Isaiah 47. I'm gonna read down. All right, so this is Isaiah 47 verse 1. This is come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans. For thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Take the millstone and grind mill. Uncover thy locks and make bare the lake. Uncover the thigh and pass over the rivers. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered. Yea, thy shame shall be seen. And I will take vengeance. And I will not meet thee as a man. And Esau is trying to use this, basically, he's trying to use this war and everything else to his advantage. That's why he's sending out sanctions. But they wouldn't send out sanctions if it's not going to benefit them. All right, and those sanctions don't benefit. They don't benefit at all. So they're using this opportunity to sanction off Russia. And since Russia is securing certain parts of Ukraine, Russia is blocking off the supply from Ukraine, and Russia is also a big supplier as well. So with all of that, it's causing a massive amount of inflation in food prices, in gas prices, and not only just here in America, but all across the four corners of the earth, all over the place. All right, and Israel sending out sanctions and all of that because Israel's part of the U.S. with all of this. All right.
There's more to that also. Usually, the U.S. they got embassies all over the world, right? So they got embassies in Russia, right? But now they're down to one more embassy, and Russia had it. So Russia wants to cut down that last embassy out of Russia, right? And that's when the U.S. started saying, "Oh, hold up, well, time out. You need that last one embassy so we can communicate." Because Russia still holds the seat as a Security Council. They're known as there's 5 permanent members, Security Council, and there's these other members, but Russia is one of the 5 permanent members. So if Russia cuts out of the embassy, that means that's it. They don't want to deal with anything about the West. That's the last embassy. So that's communication there. So once I cut out, what's up. More like, whoa, what's down?
Yeah. And back to it, it's like
what's up and what's down.
With all the inflation that's happening, Esau's trying to use this and this opportunity to crash the dollar, so he can bring in the digital currency. All right, he's trying to bring in that digital currency, which all of this goes hand in hand with this quote, how he calls it the 4th Industrial Revolution. All right, and that 4th Industrial Revolution, it says NWO. Right, America and other parts of the world that's suffering from famine. Italy was the one talking about it. How in Africa itself, it's just a world war of bread, how they're calling it. All right, and this is escalating to a massive famine. They said they had not seen in decades. This is the worst it has ever been in decades. And it's just escalating more and more. And they're saying if it doesn't cease, that's when that world war of bread is going to happen. It's going to start to cause what do they call it? I forgot what they call it. Damn. Where basically it's a governmental. They can no longer control the people. It's like anarchy, but there was a word that they used. So basically, with all of this happening, these nations are going to start to look at America, because these sanctions are coming from America, and these sanctions are coming from Israel. All right, and all of this is happening. While it's happening, Russia is retaliating with cutting off the gases and stuff like that, and that's also
more dependent on that gas. And even though Russia produces, but they produce a lot of gas.
As the prophecy said, the EU/NATO, all right, and they're gonna start to hate. They're gonna start to hate the horde. We don't know exactly how it's going to happen, but we know it's going to happen. And we got the signs that they're starting to look at America and starting to look at Biden as like.
Guess what? Because Europe is they're going to suffer more. They're going to suffer more with Anyways, yeah, Europe is going to suffer more because they're very dependent on Russian gas, and America already they produce their own gas. Babylon produces their own gas, and but it's looking like that Babylon is benefiting no matter what. They still benefiting, but Europe's going to be it's gonna be running dry on resources, pretty much. So Europe's gonna look at, hey, wait a minute, how come you guys are always on top when it comes to things, and we're the one getting fucked over, you know?
Yeah. You know, even Biden's warning of an energy emergency. You know, this is all of Esau's schemes. But through the men of Yahweh 𝙍𝙬𝙖𝙨 𝙬𝙧, just as the scriptures say, that Yahweh does nothing but reveal his secrets to serve as the prophets. This is how the whore is being made bare. This is how his shame is being seen. Alright? It's alright. So continuing, it says, thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yea, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. And so Yahweh 𝙍𝙬𝙖𝙨 is coming back. Alright, and this is part of his return. All of these happening, all these signs of prophecies that's happening, they're all part of Yahweh 𝙍𝙬's second coming, of Yahweh 𝙍𝙬's return. Alright? And Yahweh 𝙍𝙬 is not coming back as a man this time. Yahweh 𝙍𝙬 is coming as an angelic being, a godlike being. Alright, so as for our Redeemer, Yahweh of hosts is his name, the Holy One of Israel. And that, alright? So we are to return unto Yahweh. We are to return unto Yahweh 𝙍𝙬𝙖𝙨, so that we may be delivered from the coming destruction. Alright? Because Yahweh 𝙍𝙬, he's not meeting this world as a man. And we don't want to be caught up with this world. So you gotta choose a side. Alright? Because you could already see the side of Mammon, which is money, is already having problems. Now why would you want to trust in that?
There's only two signs. Either you're hot or you're cold. Either we do Yahweh 𝙍𝙬𝙖 or you're not.
Yeah,
as simple as that.
It's gonna, just as Elder Apostle Tahar calls it, calls this year, the year of the turnout. You could definitely see things starting out. In the ways of inflation, in the ways of the dollar about to crash, the economy is looking terrible. This is the worst that the economy has ever been seen. And it's just getting worse and worse and worse. And the church, and that lady who's in charge of the Treasury of America, she doesn't know what she's talking about. She's saying that you know, she can't see it getting worse in the long run. That it's just temporal. It's just gonna be there, and then it's gonna be gone. And everything's gonna get better.
There was a video of her.
Yeah, I saw the brothers, and then the brother kept repeating like how she keeps saying like oh, she doesn't actually fully understand. If you don't fully understand, then shut up. Shut up. This is why you see all these professional bankers and stuff like that saying it's going to be an economic hurricane, as they call it. It's going to get worse. Right now you can still buy your bread. You can still buy your food right now. But it's going to get so bad. It's going to take a whole day of work, an entire day of work, to buy just some bread, some food.
Oh yeah, like Venezuela right now, they had to work a whole month just to get $1 US dollar, and that's in Venezuela.
Yeah,
man.
You know, it's just gonna get worse and worse and worse. So I'm gonna continue with this. It says, sit thou silent, and get thee into darkness, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called the Lady of Kingdoms. So why is that? You know, why is that? Because this place and everyone in this world have no hope. They got no hope of salvation, no hope of saving. Can somebody get that? Take balm for a pain, so they should be healed. You know. And also, there was another one. Woe to the world of them that dwell therein. That's in the Apocrypha. Let me get that. Let me hit that up real quick. Take balm. Take balm. Take balm. BALM.
It's Jeremiah 51. Take it.
Got it? Oh, you can do it.
Yeah, I got Jeremiah.
Yo, go all the way up. Let's see this. Exactly. Hit that up. Yeah, you read it. No, you.
You want it again?
No, he got it.
Yeah, I already got something to say.
All right, it's Jeremiah 51:1. Thus said Yahweh's power. Behold, I will raise up against Babylon and against them that dwell in the midst of them, that rise up against me, a destroying wind.
Look at this. And against them that dwell in the midst of them, that rise up against me. And this, you got Babylon. This is Babylon the Great, all right? And we're in the midst of Babylon. We prophets of 𝙎𝙚𝙧𝙫𝙬𝙧𝙫, all right? We're in the midst of Babylon, but we are not accounted with Babylon. We're not accounted with her labors, with her fruits. All right, so we're not in the midst of Babylon. We're in the midst of Babylon physically, but mentally we're out of Babylon. All right, so let me continue with this. So anybody who has the mentality of this world, that worships the beast, that kneels their knee to Baal, and so on, that worships the system, all right, you are rising against Yahweh 𝙍𝙚𝙖𝙨 and Yahweh 𝙍𝙚𝙖𝙨 is going to rise up against you. All right, he's going to him and his son is going to rise up against you. All right, Yahushua, once again, he's not meeting this world as a man. You're going to see something beyond this world, something extraterrestrial, something supernatural, something you've never seen in your entire life, that you will only see in movies. That's what's going to happen to this land.
And more. It's going to be more than just the movies.
And when it happens, then you will know that a prophet's been among you, and it's going to start getting flashbacks, and you're going to have an anxious spirit, and you're going to think back. You're like, I should have listened to those guys, but it's too late. You know.
I'll read it again. Jeremiah 51:1. Thus said Yahweh 𝙍𝙬𝙧𝙫𝙬, I will raise up against Babylon and against them that dwell in the midst of them, that rise up against me, a destroying wind.
And the fact that it constantly, he's saying that this world is reserved unto fire, that it's going to end in fire. Why does it say that he's going to rise up with a destroying wind? It's because the nuclear bombs, when they explode, they burn everything around them, and anything that's still left standing. No, it's first the wind, the blast. It's gonna boom, and then the it's a burning. Yeah.
Because that huge flash when it's like so bright, it's brighter than the sun, so it leaves permanent shadows, and that was only Hiroshima. So imagine with these thermonuclear. Once that blows up, you know, whoever's on the distance, people are gonna start burning up, and then after that burn up, everything it's burning the house.
Anything that's still standing.
Then here comes that hot wind,
that destroying wind, that strong wind, and it's just anything left standing is gonna be blown apart. And not just that, because there's gonna be other nukes, so it's just gonna be thrown that way as well. You know. Right. And anything that's still left behind, it's just going to be, since a fire feeds on air, on oxygen, since it's being thrown around, the fire is going to consume it so much that it's going to melt the element itself, all the way to the point that it doesn't exist. You know, not even ash will be left behind.
And that's the power of Yahweh 𝙍𝙬𝙧𝙫𝙬. I get chills even just thinking about it.
Yeah, that's why this place is going to be a pit. You know, it isn't going to be a pit full of ash. It's going to be a pit, you know, because it says that what is it? I think it says that in the same chapter. You got something?
It got me thinking about this. I gotta bring it up. Because this footage, you can look it up. This is why when we push this through, the prophets push this through, to the spirit Yahweh 𝙍𝙬𝙧𝙫𝙬. It's really for the elect. It's really for the elect, because the elect are the ones that are going to go in there. They're going to research. They're going to look And that's why, you know, we say, look it up. You can look it up online, look in the videos. It shows footage, the explosion, and with these get like the wind throws it off, and like the trees going like this, you know. It reminds me of the scriptures, like,
and it's stronger now. You remember Putin's threat towards America was four nuclear bombs. He can destroy the U.S.
That's it.
Four. And it makes you think like, hot damn, there's gonna be 200 million missiles hit in this place. And the fact that the missiles itself has tons of warheads, that's why it's gonna be 200 million. The fact that four missiles themselves are gonna, and that's enough to destroy it. Imagine 200 million warheads blasting up this. It's literally gonna be literally be a pit of fire.
It's gonna make the whole earth look like a natural formation of like the Death Star from Star Wars. See how the Death Star looks like? It's a whole globe, right? But it's like a crater.
It's gonna look like in the space. It's gonna look like a huge affection on the earth.
And it's Isaiah 24:20. The earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard, and shall be removed like a cottage, and the transgression thereof shall be heavy upon it, and it shall fall and not rise again.
Yeah, and you won't be building up the desolate places this time. You know, your entire system, your entire everything, your world is gonna fall.
It's gonna be more than flat. See, I think the flattening's gonna come first. Then this is gonna be a whole crater.
Yeah, they're gonna have nothing to pick up.
You can wipe your mind. Oh wait, actually, let me see the next verse on that.
Just talking about Star Wars.
Is that Tatooine?
Citizen right there.
Is that Tatooine? Huh?
Just missed it.
Yeah, let's go back to Jeremiah.
Again, Jeremiah 51:1. Thus. All right, this Jeremiah 51:2. And I will send unto Babylon banners that shall fan her, and shall empty her land. For in the day of trouble they shall be against her round about.
This banners is referring to any person who has ICBM missiles or ICBMs, intercontinental ballistic missiles. You know, and all of them are gonna strike this place. You know, all of them. Those nations are gonna rise up against Babylon. That they're gonna strike their plowshares into swords. And the weak shall say that I am strong. Why? Because now even these smaller countries they have bombs. They have ICBM missiles or ICBMs, intercontinental ballistic missiles. You know.
Against him that bended her, the archer, bent his bow.
Wait, and oh, you was start again? You said her.
Okay. The Jeremiah 51:3. Against him that bended, let the archer bend his bow. And against him that lifted himself up in his brigandine.
It's a brigandine. It's like
brigandine.
It's all
right. And spare ye not her young man, destroy ye utterly all her host.
And so all they that have the bow, the archers, all they that can bend the bow, and all them that can bend the bow is referring to all of them that have the ICBMs, intercontinental ballistic missiles. All right, this world is going to end in thermonuclear fire. In the hosts of heaven. All right, all of this world, all of this that is associated with this world, they're all going to be burned up. The elements are going to be melted with fervent heat. You know, and that's why Otto Robertson I'm going to mention later So what type of person are you going to be? All holy for conversation and godliness. So yeah, I'm gonna bring that up again.
Thus the slain shall fall in the land of the Chaldeans, and they that are thrust through her streets. For Israel had not been forsaken, nor Judah of his power, of 𝙎𝙚𝙧𝙫𝙧 of hosts. And the land was filled with sin against the Holy One of Israel.
Yeah, so you know this is not talking about the old Babylon, because they're still standing, they're still up there. You know? And Israel isn't in slavery over there at this moment. But we are over here. This is Babylon the Great. This is the land that's spiritually called Sodom and Egypt. Alright? This place is where we're in captivity. You know? This is the place where we serve our servitude to the greatest, to the furthest. You know? And it seems that we're so fallen to the state that we have completely forgotten who we are. And Israel always knew who they were. You know?
So like, you said the Babylon is still standing. It's not really standing. It's a ruin. It's just that the inhabitants of that land is pretty much Iraq. There's an old ruin of Babylon. And according to the history of that Babylon, it not ended how the scriptures describe how it's going to end. So it's talking about this Babylon. Pretty much. So it's only standing as a meaning Iraq is in that area. So there's the ruins of all Babylon.
I mean, I'm talking about like the you know how they says they should not pitch tents there and stuff like that. So I mean, like.
If I misunderstood, it's a lot.
Yeah, you can continue.
Jeremiah 51:6. Flee out of the midst of Babylon and deliver every man his soul. Be not caught off in her iniquity. For this is the time of 𝙎𝙚𝙧𝙫𝙧's vengeance. He will render unto her a recompense. Babylon has seen a golden cup. That's a lot. Babylon has been a golden cup in 𝙎𝙚𝙧𝙫's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nation have drunken of her wine.
And what does that mean? You know, all of these nations have drunken of the philosophy of block the sun from hitting the phone. You guys need to stop calling. Somebody.
Yeah, just stand right in front of it.
You're gonna have to stand right there. You're taller, dude.
You can move on that side.
Yeah, you. Yeah. So how are the nations drunken of her wine? They're drunken of the philosophy of Esau. You can see on the way in the ways of their life, it's completely altered, completely changed. All right. They wear suit and ties. They go to work. They got cars. They got planes. They got airports. They got their military. They're exactly the same. You know, they got guns. They got everything.
The philosophies like the how politics run, like in this hemisphere, it runs differently. Even though they say communism, they still run the same type of method.
Yeah, they still gotta do talks and all of that. If there's a war, you hate each other. All right, that's what a war is.
You send each other messenger. That's the old way. You know, like I don't like how they going about. They send each other messengers.
Yeah.
You know, pretty much like an ambassador.
And that's like you can see it with World War II. They still had Olympics. America still went to do Olympics over there in Nazi Germany. Like, I thought you guys were at war. Why you guys have everything's war and the battles and stuff like that? But then you guys, let's just have a peace a little bit. Let's enjoy some sports. Like, what the fuck?
But still, they're still drunken with Babylon because they have the philosophies like they have a seat on the United Nations And and before the United Nations, it was called the League of Nations. That's where they got the Justice League. That's where they got the ideology from. But during the time of the League of Nations, before the United Nations, Hitler had a seat in that League of Nations.
What's the difference? League of the Villains as well? I
It's like the Legion of Doom.
Yeah, Legion of Doom. There you go.
But during the time of World War II, they had, they had the axis of, I forgot how it was called, the axis of good or something, the axis of evil. They had two divisions, like the bad guys and the good guys, however they want to call it back then.
All of these dudes, they have raised up against Yahweh 𝙍𝙚𝙖𝙨 𝙬𝙧𝙪𝙀. All right, 𝙍𝙚𝙖𝙨. These nations, just like what it says in, I believe it was Psalms 83. Let me see. Because there's a list of these nations. Psalms 83. And these nations are, all of these nations, these are the enemies of Yahweh 𝙍𝙚𝙖𝙨. Yo, shalom. Yo, 𝙍𝙚𝙖𝙨 to all your brothers on the comment board.
Shalom.
So yeah. Oh, you looking up?
Yeah, I gotta see. I'm not gonna look up to that. Pretty much that's the idea. All right, it's Jeremiah 51:8. Did I reach it?
Yeah.
All right, Jeremiah 51:8.
Oh wait, you haven't finished it. You ended at therefore the nations are many.
All right, Jeremiah 51:7. Babylon has been a golden cup in Jehovah 𝙍𝙚𝙖𝙨's hand, Salaki, that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine. Therefore, the nations are mad.
Yeah, the nations are mad. Now they're starting to see that all of Esau's philosophy and everything like that, the shame is starting to reveal on Esau. And now since they agreed with Esau, now they're gonna have to be punished with Esau. Alright? They're gonna have to be punished with Esau. Esau raised up against his own brother. He has a hated blood. All these nations they took in Jacob as slaves as well. And they all treated us horribly. And now that they're basically they're eating of the fruit off the back of Jacob, they're all going to have to be punished with Esau. They were drunken off that wine, off that philosophy. Man,
Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her, take balm for her pain. If so, she may be healed.
Yeah, and these nations are going to start to see Esau was just using them at the end of the day, through his sword. And these nations are going to rise up against Babylon the Great. All right, just as it says, the beast shall hate the whore. Now all these other nations are going to hate the whore as well. So like, let me just finish this up.
We will have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, and let us go every one unto his own country. For her judgment reacheth unto heaven.
Yeah,
and is lifted up even to the skies.
And these nations think that when they go back, basically after Babylon's destroyed, and they go back to their own countries and stuff like that, they think that they're all good from there. Nah, man, they're gonna come in as slaves as well, as servants with Esau. You know, because they have punishment to go through as well. All right. First it started with Yahushua's return. All right. They were also being burned up, but not as much as Babylon the Great. All right. But these other nations, they got it in for them. All right. They got it in for themselves. Yahushua is going to take the crowns off their heads. That was it? Oh, you got a piece of it? Yeah. You read it.
This is Luke 12, verse 49. I come to send fire on earth, and what will I, if it be already kindled?
Yeah. You know, and that's how they're mad. You know, and it's just going to keep increasing. Esau's trying to use his opportunity to establish his one world order. Alright? His one world order. He's trying to use his opportunity right now to crash the dollar so he can bring in the digital currency. So all can be one. You know, as they had it with Biden speaking to the public, but in the background they got the flag saying something with or side, I don't know, something like that. You know, if I remember, it's one above all. All right, and that's that NWO. Esau's trying to have that dominion, so he can be like a god. All right. So let me 2nd Ezra chapter 16, verse. Where are you? Is it in this one? I think it is, right? It was woe to the world and them that dwell therein. I know, I feel like I've skipped that part.
Second Ezra 15 and 14.
15 and 14. Oh, I'm in 16 slide. 2nd Ezra chapter 15, verse 14. It says, "Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands." And that was pretty much it there. You know, and just as it says in Jeremiah, that Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, he's raised up against Babylon and them that dwell in the midst of it. Alright? So all you people that's in this world, that still conform to this world, that still has the mentality of being in this world, serving money, you know, killing for money, you know, anything like that, bro, why you so... Alright, so let's who got that precept that I told them to hold? You got it, right?
I got it.
Yeah, you read it.
You already got a precept.
Yeah, what? Yes. Oh, you got some precepts?
There you go.
Oh, you said that was the thing that's your searching up? Yeah, that's what I was reading in Isaiah. Yo, that's a good one. Maccabees.
Come on, wanna bring it out?
Yeah, you read that one.
All right, this from KDC. Our first Maccabees 2 and 10. What nation not had a part in her kingdom and gotten of her spoils?
Yeah, all these nations did, man. You know, all you see all these greatest landmarks on the earth. You know, it was ultimately made by Jake, by the back of slaves. You know, because once again, Esau, the so-called white man, wasn't the only one that had slaves. Alright? It's just that they treated their slaves the worst. Why? Because they had a walk closer, put it in the shadow. They had a lust for Jacob's blood because they wanted revenge for our forefather Jacob. Alright? Because we, quote, stole his birthright. But it wasn't even stolen, it was sold. He sold it. But yeah, you know. But these other nations, they also treated us bad, terribly. Why? Because they were in agreement with Esau to erase our name off the face of the earth. All of them had a piece of the spoils of Jacob. You so-called blacks, Latinos, Native Americans being in slavery. We were a currency. We were a currency. As much as you are in need of bread, you know, for food, you know, how much you're in need for drinks. That's how much these nations needed us to build up their walls. You know, that's why it's called the North Atlantic slave trade. Because we were a trade along with spices. Alright, amongst these nations.
We also entertain them with their sports. You know?
Yeah. Damn. Yeah, who was reading?
It was me.
Oh no, you got magazines like
more.
Stop.
And all her ornaments are taken away of a free woman. She is become a bond slave.
Yeah, you know, they made desolate. They made us desolate, man. You know, ultimately it was Yahweh through our transgressions we ended up in that situation. But at the end of the day, these nations, they use us, man. All right, we're kings and princes. You know, and we still are, even in this state. We're still the star of the world. We still shine brighter than these heathens, even when we're in this state. But still, you know,
and that's a philosophy.
And you know, they erased our name from the face of the earth. They took over our land. They called themselves us. You know what I mean? You can see the difference between an Israelite and an Israeli. An Israeli is an inhabitant of Israel. An Israelite is a biblical Israelite. Alright? And we are the Israelites pursuant to the curses. You know? And one of the greatest things me and my Abba talked about when we were at the store was that a lot of these restaurants, a lot of these stores, they're owned by Amalek, a so-called Jew. A so-called Jewish, to be exact. Because ish means pertaining to be. Because they are pertaining to be a Jew. A Jew is short for Judah. Alright, so continuing, a lot of these stores are owned by Amalek, the head tribe of Esau, so-called white man. Alright? And pursuant to the curses, our shops, our stores, they don't prosper. They do not prosper. You know, a lot of the places, a lot of the stores, convenience stores around here, and when my dad was younger, you know, a lot of these were Jake-owned stores. But over the years, now they're being replaced with Ishmael, because Ishmael's not under the curses. He can easily get these things. You know, and they're in agreement with Esau anyways. You know? Selling our people hookah and shit. All of that, that's unlawful stuff.
Reminds me of something when I was in downtown. And I went to this pizza joint, 99-cent pizza. I mean, who doesn't know that, you know? And as I bought a pizza, there was an Ephraimite in there, and he was talking to Issachar, because Issachar was behind it. You know, they were in the kitchen, they were doing the pizza. And Ephraim was like, "Man, this pizza tastes good, man. This pizza is like, man, your boss know how to make that pizza, man." He's like. You know, he's asking Mexican. Like must be Mexicans. I know Mexicans can do this. Can do this pizza good, man. And Issachar was like, no, my boss, my boss a Jew. He said. So it just showed that Amalek is still running shit anyways. But the cooks is Issachar. It just shows that our people, Amalek just like to use our people for just business, because we know we always do shit good. We always make our food taste good.
Just like right there, you got Issachar. Issachar means hired. And a lot of these heathens, they hire Issachar.
You're always gonna see Issachar behind Ishmael's running when they're running a joint, like in the delis.
Yeah. So
you see Issachar now. You see Issachar now behind like making Chinese food too. You know what pisses me off?
Amalek always takes the credit for it.
Yeah, it's true. They buy the company and then they put their face as if they're the ones who's doing it. Especially with Welch's, if I remember correctly.
Right.
With Welch's, you got it in the back. It's just family owned for generations, and it shows Edomites standing with grapes in their hands.
That's what you're talking about.
And we're like, the fuck? They got Jake in those fields, man.
Right, ocean spray. They always got Esau like they're the one in the field doing all the hard work. But when you go in those fields, it's always Jake. It's always, especially Issachar. You're gonna see Issachar always getting out there.
And if it's not Jake, they're using machines and pesticides and all of this. There's some companies that while Jake is in the fields, they fly over the fields while they're still in it, and they drop pesticides all over them.
Right.
With the plants.
And Issachar be getting sick out there, and they still gotta go out there, and they still gotta work.
Fucking Esau, man. He's gonna get it. All you nations are too. All you heathens are gonna get it. When our Lord comes back, man, He's not gonna meet you as a man. Alright? He's gonna be beyond your understanding, beyond your terrestrial minds. Alright? You people are done, man. Because it's gonna get worse out here. It's gonna get bad. You can laugh now, but you're gonna cry later. We'd rather suffer affliction now than to suffer with you people later. It's gonna be real bad for you people. For you men, for you women, for your children. It's gonna be real bad.
And it shows also when the reason Issachar is coming up here, jumping over the border to come in here, is because Esau is the one that kicking them out of their own land.
Yeah.
How? Because Issachar, they're farmers. They got not just Issachar, but Zebulon, all the way down to Asher, and so on and so forth down there. They got farms down there, right? But here comes Esau with his company, go down there, kick them off their land, and also spread out lies and saying, oh, because you're having a hard time. I know your family having a hard time. Come up here to Babylon.
We'll take you with open arms.
So they lie. They take their stuff from
the propaganda, like shit ton of propaganda. And when they come over here and they cross the border or anything like that, and they get caught by the National Guard and shit, or the border patrol, they separate the parents from the children, and they take the children to do sex trafficking. All right, or chop them up for body parts.
It's all business, and body parts, organ, so-called organ donation. Like somebody's sick, and all of a sudden, oh, we found a donor, but that donor probably got kidnapped and killed and chopped off.
Once again, if Mexico was Mexico or any of the other of the South America countries were owned by Jake, they would never have trouble, and they would never want to come to America. If that were the case, people are stupid, man. Simple-minded people.
You get lied. Our people have been lied to so many, even until now. Like come over here, like they make it sound like the streets are paved with gold, Everything else is nice. You become rich.
You become rich. Your children will become rich. You know, you'll be well off. You're fucking liars, man.
Yeah, look at you can see.
This is deceivers. That's what it means to be drunken with the wine. They took that wine. They're like, yo, that looks sweet. Yeah, it's the sweetest wine there ever will be. And they take a drink, and that alcohol's percentage is so high it gets them drunk in one shot.
And so you can see these so-called you can see the
yeah.
So you can see these so-called immigrants having a hard time trying to work at least over here because they can't get a real job. They have to get paid in cash.
Yeah, we should do a precept that talks about that Babylon's a stumbling block. Remember, there's something like that. You know, and Babylon is a stumbling block, especially the fucking border control. I mean, with the border, you know, especially when they cross that border, it's literally a stumbling block for them.
But then there's also spiritual stumbling block too, because these churches, these politics, whatever, you know, anything from ESOL handouts, you know, food stamp, WIC, whatever, you know, those are all stumbling blocks to spoil our people.
Yeah,
you know,
and it makes them drunken even more. If you think about it, it makes them drunken even more because since their face is on the ground, they can't see what's in front of them. But hey, yes. So, oh, you got precept?
Yeah. There you go. I've been holding this for a while. This is Amos 5, verse 18. Woe unto you that desire the day of the Lord. To what end is it for you? The day of the Lord is darkness and not light.
Yeah, and a lot of these people of this world, they desire the day of our Lord returning. They read the scriptures, and they're like, I can't wait until the Lord returns. I'm going to stay up all night. Because they think that he's literally coming in the nighttime, like in physical night.
That's a simple thing. Wow.
Yeah, it is night for them because they obviously can't see that the day of the Lord is darkness and not light. And what does that mean? It's a day of evil. What does evil mean? Evil means bad time. Eve means time. Ill means bad. All right. So it's bad times. All right. The Lord is coming back to bring evil, to bring a bad time onto this place. You know, all of you that is conformed to this world, that is all up in the philosophy of this world, you're raised against the Heavenly Father and the angels above. You know, yo, bro, walk a little closer. Yo, shalom, shalom. Once again, shalom to all your brothers on the comment board. 𝙎𝙚𝙧𝙫𝙬𝙘. All right, so you can actually continue with it.
Verse 19. As if a man did flee from a lion, and a bear met him, or went into the house, and leaned his hand on the wall, and a serpent bit him. Shall not the day of the Lord be darkness, and not light, even very dark, and no light, and no brightness in it?
Yeah, so you people, you got no escape. You got no salvation for what's coming. No nothing. You know, but even you 2/3 of Israelites, all right, you got nothing coming. Reason I'm saying that is because you aren't returning to 𝙎𝙚𝙧𝙫𝙬𝙘. There's nowhere else to look for salvation besides Yahweh or Yahushua. It says there's no other name given under heaven among men where we must be saved. All right,
you 2/3 don't get it that this unit, this.
I hit your phone. That's sorry. No, I hit your phone.
You 2/3 don't get it that this unity thing that you have in these churches, that's a Babylonian mentality. That's Tower of Babel mentality.
That is a Babylonian mentality. Because if you're a true man of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, you will understand that can two walk together except they be agreed. You know, with the mentality of the Babylonians, they have a mentality. With the Babylonian mentality, they have this mindset where the more people there is, the more glory the king has. You know, because the glory of a king is the people. You know, and the more that the king can handle, that's his glory. But since there's so much diversity and stuff like that, each different one has their own diverse and separate ways. How can you group them together if they have a division, if that were so? But you're not, because you're nothing but a mere man as they are.
It's the same mentality. Like Esau has the same mentality, just like Nimrod. You want to just control everything.
Yeah, that's what I say. He's trying to be as God. He's trying to be as a power. You know, he's trying to be as the Most High, to sit upon that throne and control everybody. That's what he's trying to do through his New World Order, his NWO. With this over here, he can control your very life. All right. If you don't cooperate with his system, all right. Let me ask you. If you don't cooperate with his system, he could just turn this off. You can't buy food. You can't buy water. You will not be accepted by society.
And this is the result. And this is the result for non-cooperation, anyway.
Yeah.
You know.
No, you're gonna go through a how do they call it? A rehab. You know, they're gonna brainwash you. You know, they're gonna brainwash you to bow and be a zombie for their order.
And it's like,
right? It's gonna get bad for these people out here.
So that's why
real bad.
Babylon is simply just repeating the same thing as the Tower of Babel back in Genesis. KDC 3 got this Genesis 11:1. The whole earth was in one language and in one speech. What's the main goal of Esau? You know,
that one world order. That one there is the key word, because Esau has that Babylonian mentality. All right, they got that Babylon. That's why it's called Sodom and Egypt. You know, it has the customs of sodomy. All right, it has the customs of Egypt, and then it's ultimately called the daughter of Babylon. You know, like it's an offspring of Babylon. If you look at the Babylonian, what's it? Fuck. What's that statue called? The statue with the what's it? Like the gold head. The gold head. Fuck! What was it called? Basically the feet was clay.
The feet was clay.
It was clay. The legs was it copper? I think it was, or iron? Because one of the two.
But we on the last leg. This is the last leg
and that's when it's gonna fall. It's just gonna fall. You know, you can't stand with clay legs, you know, those clay legs with all that weight on top. You know, but Esau's trying. You know, Esau's trying.
How the angels up in heaven, you know, Yahweh shine the angels. It's like they look at the skin. It's like, oh, like it's like Tower of Babel. Oh, they had it again. Oh,
what happened? Yeah, what happened with the Tower of Babel?
You know?
Just as that statue's gonna fall, so did the Tower of Babel. You know, it collapsed. It was knocked down. It's like a Jenga tower. You know, it's shit.
Really, they said, don't be surprised that Jenga, man. Don't even get me started.
Yeah, that's how Esau is. It's like Esau's like,
you know,
this works.
So that's whole.
And it worked. He's like, yes, okay. It's too much weight up there, so it's gonna.
So you take an object out.
That's
like it's okay. You still fight through this. You still unite. But you take everything out, eventually it's gonna fall anyways.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Especially when since the people don't agree with each other. So it says, can Satan if Satan rises against Satan, how can he stand? Roughly paraphrasing, you know, and basically that's how Esau, when Esau's economy collapses, how is he going to bring that back together? Because there's so much diversity amongst the people. They're all going to have different thoughts. That's why it says one people shall rise against another.
That's why I like
that. And swords of their hands and their course of their actions that stand in their power.
That's why I like that game, Jenga, because you look at it spiritually. It's like you're pretty much dividing the kingdom. That's it.
Yeah, sure. It out, that's their iniquity, like collecting too.
God.
You know, that's how I saw. It's like it's gonna reach a point where it's just gonna collapse, and all of that's gonna fall upon them. You know. You got any more verses?
Nah.
You read a little bit of that.
So this is Job chapter 20, verse 21. It says, there shall none of his meat be left, therefore shall no man look for his goods. In the fullness of his sufficiency.
That's where you're supposed to start at right there. In the fullness of his sufficiency.
Sufficiency.
Yeah.
Sufficiency, he shall be in straits.
He shall be in straits, which straits means that it's trouble. All right? A difficult time. All right?
It says, every hand of the wicked shall come upon him.
And read that in the NLT. It's like even better right there.
You want to start 21?
No. It's just
this is the NLT. In the midst of penalty, they will run into trouble and be overcome by misery.
They shall run into trouble and that shall be overcome by misery. And that reminded me of I'm gonna jump down on Isaiah 47 real quick. Isaiah 47 in 11. They shall run into trouble and they shall be overcome by misery. And Isaiah chapter 47 verse 11, it says, therefore shall evil come upon thee. Thou shalt not know whence it riseth, and mischief shall fall upon thee, and thou shalt not be able to put it off, and desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou shalt not know. Stand now with thine enchantments, and with the multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth. If so be, if so be that thou shalt be able to profit, if so be thou mayest prevail. And what that basically means is that what Esau's going to run, just as it says, Esau's going to run into straits, and and be overcome with misery. And what's Esau's greatest weapon? Enchantments and sorceries. That's what he's trying to do. And that's a weapon. That's a weapon to your mental, to your brain. All right, enchantments and sorceries. But if you can no longer use that weapon, the weapon became dull and became dull to the point that it snaps. How are you going to use a weapon that is broken? How can you use a weapon that is broken in a battle? How can you survive that situation now? And when you try to run, it's just like, what is it, when you flee from a lion and a bear met you, and then you flee from the bear and lean your hand upon the wall, and the serpent bit you. There is no escape, Esau. Your desolation's coming. 𝙎𝙚𝙖𝙨 is coming to destroy you, man. And all you people that rise up against the Father, i.e. you people in this world, you are done. You want to take you Israelite groups that's taking the bag, you are done as well. You're conformed with this world. You ain't conformed with Yahushua. We are. We made of Yahushua. We'd rather suffer now than to suffer later.
It's like one of those disaster movies. Somebody is running away from the thief that has a gun, right? And you run into the streets, and you get hit by a car. It's gonna be like that. It's gonna be a huge mess. Two-third Jakes. Anybody comes against this truth.
Yeah. Yeah, continue with that.
It's like, in his fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. Just when he is about to fill his belly, Yahweh shall cast his fury of his wrath upon him, and shall rain it upon him while he is eating.
Yeah. So right when Esau's about to fulfill his NWO, that's when Yahweh is gonna come and just absolutely slap the fuck out of Esau. Esau, your arms are way too short to box with the Heavenly Father. Your main weapon is your sorceries and your enchantments. You go ahead and try to shoot your greatest weapon, the ICBM, at him. He's the one who made it. He's the one that made you make it. He's the one who blessed you with that sword. And he can, it just as he easily blessed you, he can easily take it away. He can easily curse you. Instantly. You know? Those missiles are going to stop in midair and they're going to turn around. They're going to turn around and they're going to shoot right at you.
And those missiles don't even need targets. You know why? Because Babylon is target everywhere.
The Babylon is the main target, even to the very missiles that are stationed here.
It's a really...
Missiles are going to go up.
And then come right back down.
The whole
It's like you aiming an arrow up just to shoot it upwards. And it's just gonna come
Exactly.
back
That's
down.
how Esau's trying to do. Esau's trying to shoot. Okay, he's so used to the blade, he never used the bow before. So when he's going like, it's right over there. Bah! And the wind just so happens to not go his favor, it goes right on him.
You see, 𝙍𝙬𝙖𝙨𝙤𝙬𝙧𝙫𝙀 is the best of 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 the. I can't even go any higher.
Etc.
You know,
Etc.
And because it makes that job so easy that we can, when we prophesy and push the truth out there, you know, we basically playing darts, and the game of darts is so easy. All we have to do is pick up the dart and just go like this, because this whole thing is it's a target.
It's the main target.
The main target.
This whole thing is the red circle.
Yeah, this is. You know, yes, continue.
It says, when he is the fury of his wrath upon him, and shall rain it upon him while he is eating, he shall flee from the iron weapon, and the bow of steel shall strike him through.
Listen to that. The iron weapon and the bow of steel. Bow.
Like who's gonna? I mean, if you really think about it, who's gonna have a bow of steel, and even the string is made of steel? Come on.
It's represented the intercontinental ballistic missiles, man. Look how they're shaped. It's literally an arrow, bro.
And the bow is a missile silo.
What is it? Off the arrowhead. What use of it? How is that an arrow then? You know, if you snap off the tip of the arrow, you can't use it. It's not much of a bow. It's not much of a weapon. But it's just the same as if you have the missile, but you don't have the warhead. What's the point of shooting the missile? So if you have the warhead on there, same thing as the arrowhead, the tip of an arrow. You know?
And who's gonna bend steel in order to retract again? Now you got to look at it in a spiritual sense. These missile silos to keep the missiles, they're made of pure iron and steel.
Yeah, so
you know?
That's a good point, because iron cannot fly like other things can, unless it has a propulsion, and it needs a propulsion, and that's what that steel arrow is. You know what I mean?
The fire
steel
that
bow
comes out from the missile itself.
Yeah, that's
help
the
it
silo.
propel.
The silo.
Yo, you know, it's basically literally just an arrow, but named different, and it's made of iron and it's bigger.
Yeah, a missile's pretty much an arrow.
God,
So if you change the size of a regular arrow and put a rocket at the end of it, is it still called an arrow?
and
That's
think about it.
That's a good point. You can see the back of the arrow where the feather usually is. That's for the propulsion. If you don't have that, it's gonna go off course. It's just the same thing as if you just shoot the missile and then it runs out of fuel midway. It's gonna fall.
And if you take a missile from this time and take it to the ancient times, back in time, they're not going to describe it as a missile because that word didn't even exist. They still call it an arrow.
Yeah, it looks like an arrow. It's flying. It's arcing. It literally arcs.
Still arcs. You know,
It's
the other end
just
of the
like
world.
just like an arrow. You know, so the men of old, when they saw this, they described it as an arrow. All right.
No different than the chariots up in the sky. You know,
in the
back
silo.
then they call it a pillar, but in today's term they call it a cigarette-shaped object up in the sky.
Cigar shaped. Yeah.
You know,
They described it in their terms. They described it of their memory,
Yeah.
what they're used to.
So yeah, continue with that.
It says, he shall flee from the iron weapon, and the bow of steel shall strike him through. It is drawn and cometh out of the body. Yea, the glittering sword cometh out of his gale. Terrors are upon him.
Wait. Let me see that. Let me see that.
25.
Yo, it is drawn and it cometh out of the body. Yea, the glittering sword cometh out of his gall.
No, skull.
Yo, that's it. For some reason, through the spirit, it reminds me of the silo. How the silo opens up and then the missile comes out, like as if it's coming out of a body. I don't know. I don't know. I just thinking through the spirit, like that's how it reminds me of. When the silo, when the missile shoots out of the silo, it's like as if it's coming out of something. You know, just as a bow, you have to pull back the bow, right? It doesn't. The arrow cannot shoot while the bowstring's like this. You have to pull back the bow, and then let go of it, and it comes out of the body of the arrow. The body of the arrow is the body of the bow is the arc. It's the same thing. You know?
But it's all spiritually boils down to that because there's no actual.
Oh, and it says it's like here, and it says that it comes out of the gall. When the missile's lifting off, the smoke. There's a shit ton of smoke. You don't see the missile just yet, and then it comes out of the smoke.
Like you see the fire.
The fire, yeah. That's why he calls it the blood. It's blood, as if the arrow is protruding something out of it, like as if it's blood. It's coming out of its body of the arrow. You know, that's how I'm visualizing it, and it makes sense that way if you think about it. And it says, "The terror shall come upon him." That's why when you saw that farmer in Terminator, when you saw how the missile came out of his farmland, he was like, you know, he probably got goosebumps, like terror.
Like I didn't know there was
a silo there.
Yeah, majority of these farmers don't know that there's fucking missiles under them. Like,
yeah, so right when they see that, they get terrorized. They're shook on terror. So right when he was working on that field and he saw it, he stopped his field and said, oh shit. So he probably got goosebumps all the way down his body.
You wanna know the big? You wanna be
about
Slut.
Go ahead.
See, the big problem is that there's missiles coming all around him, like coming out all around him. You know, like the scene in Terminator.
But think about it like there's gonna be earthquakes in diverse places. You know, Esau also doing his own little earthquake, but he's gonna say it's earthquake because down there they're blowing shit up, so they can create their own little not missile bunker, like missile silos, like secret silos. They all of a sudden, next you know, the ground opens up and they have a missile coming out of it.
Yeah, they got weapons over them, even in places you don't even expect. You know, they got it on submarines and everything. You know.
Come to think of it, maybe that's why there's a lot of chariots always showing up in like near farmer areas.
That's why sometimes there's earthquakes in places that it's unlikely to have earthquakes, and there's still earthquakes anyway. Because that's a part of it.
It is strong and coming out of the body, yea, the glittering sword.
The glittering sword, because when you're seeing it through the smoke, when you're seeing the missile through the smoke, it's glowing. And then when it starts going into the sky, especially when it's nighttime, when it starts going into the sky, all you can see is the glitter, like the fire, the light of the fire. You know?
Oh, that's fun.
It says, yea, glittering sword coming out of his gall. Terrors are upon him. All darkened shall be hid in his secret places. A fire not blown shall consume him. It shall go out with him that is left in his tabernacle. It says, the heaven shall reveal his iniquity, and the earth shall rise up against him.
The heaven shall reveal his iniquity. And you know how he's going to reveal it, and how his iniquity going to be revealed in iniquity? When we're standing on the sea of glass. I don't know what we're part of the elect, and you brothers out there, you sincere brothers, you know, when we're standing on the sea of glass is what? That's the firmament. When we're on the firmament of the earth, but we're inside the chariots looking down at the sea of glass. You know? Yeah, looking down at Babylon the Great. You know? It's the heaven is revealing his iniquity. And not just that, on the other side of the world you can see fire glowing. Like, you know, this is like when you see fire in the distance, you can see the sky just lighting up. America's gonna be burning for a very long time. And everybody's gonna know which distance, I mean which way is the west. They just gotta look around and they can see that glowing, sparkling light over there, like as if there's a campfire. And that, oh, that's west. Alright, north is this way.
What happened over there?
They're gonna be there.
You know,
long story.
Can I go over there? No, you can't. That's the forbidden zone.
You don't go over there. Demons lie there.
You know?
Demons lie there. That's the land of the dead. You don't want to go there.
You know, it's like that movie.
That's the land of everlasting fire.
The old movie, Planet of the Apes. They say no one can venture outside. You cannot go over there. So what is over there? It's the forbidden zone.
Yeah, imagine.
You know how they would say? When the children was.
Yeah, I was about to mention that. I was like, how did that happen over there? What happened over there? And then all you have to say is, what happened over there? That's how not to rule a kingdom.
No.
Something
Because
like
they won't say it like that. Because generations will already happen. They're gonna say that was the land where devils and demons rule. And God, how they're gonna say, God has
Well, they're gonna say his name though.
Has casted them down to everlasting burning. Yeah, something like that.
But
You know, they're saying like that.
In the movie Planet of the Apes, when they say that's a forbidden zone, we can't go there. You know, to make the story short, really short, that one Edomite character, he went over there, he ventured beyond that zone. And he went to see what it is, you know, because he thought he was going to go home from there or whatever. And he finds the Statue of Liberty all fucked up looking.
Yeah, it was.
And he said, "You did it." Whatever, he cursed him out like the miss, like, because he said the missiles hit or whatever. He did it, whatever, how it went. He was just very upset, you know, because his world was in ruins.
Yeah, and there won't even be a Statue of Liberty. There won't even be a Statue of Liberty left. Like, damn. All elements shall melt with fervent heat.
All elements.
Yeah, I actually get the scripture.
Let me bring it up. Bring it up.
This is 2 Peter 3, verse 10. But the night in the night, in which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise.
That great noise is the intercontinental ballistic missiles hitting, man. It's gonna be a deafening noise. Alright, and it's gonna be a violent shaking. Alright, and it's gonna burn up.
The elements shall melt with fervent heat.
So it's gonna melt with fervent heat. So the great noise is gonna happen, and elements are gonna start to melt. You're gonna see trees literally melting, bro. Yeah, I'm saying melting. Tree there, the next second's gone.
The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up.
All the works therein, that includes the Statue of Liberty. Esau thinks that he can at least leave behind a memorial. Nah, bro. Nah. You know? Look at us. Look what happened to us. You know? Us as a people, you destroy all of our memorials. Either destroy it or moved it. And what's gonna happen to your nothing's gonna be left. Not a single piece, nothing. You made desolate the temple of Yahweh. He's gonna make desolate everything that's yours.
This devil trying to destroy the memorial of Yahweh.
Yeah,
you know,
especially his people. You know, and the people are the greatest memorial of Yahweh 𝙎𝙚𝙖𝙨. Remember, through Judah, you got the Heavenly Father's name in Yahweh. Yahweh means Yahweh thanks. That's what Yahweh means. Or Judah means Yahweh thanks. Alright? So Israel is the greatest memorial of Yahweh 𝙎𝙚𝙖𝙨 themselves. And they're trying to destroy that memorial. Trying to destroy Israel. So what? You touch the apple of his eye, he's going to absolutely obliterate. He's going to wipe you off the face of the earth. And that's exactly what he's going to do. and not but an hour.
Verse 11. Seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons ought ye to be in all holy conversation and godliness?
Yeah. You know? Our mentality is not conform to this world, man. We don't have that terrestrial mind as you people do. All right? Our thoughts are beyond this world, man. You know, people look at us as we're crazy. I was real stupid. You know? But when that sign comes, you're gonna see who's really stupid. Yeah, just hit up any pizzas. We're pretty close up. These brothers got it. They lit it up. They made a fire. They made a little fire in the chat.
I'll start with KDC 3. Isaiah 9 and 5. For every battle of the warrior is with confused noise, and garments roll in blood.
Garments rolled in blood.
But this shall be with burning and fuel of fire.
Yeah.
And then more from KDC 3. Isaiah 13 and 3. I have commanded my sanctified ones. I have also called my mighty ones.
I actually want to elaborate because in the ancient times, with that confused noise, all you hear is, you know, battle crying and clanking and you know, all of these and booms and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
But with this war, it's going to be a burning of fuel of fire, and there's going to only be one deafening sound from it. That's going to be overrule everything else. So, you know, you're gonna know what's happening.
There was this movie called Braveheart.
No screaming, no nothing.
It's a movie called Braveheart. It's an old movie already, you know. But there's one scene that they went to war, and there was no music in that one scene. But the battle is like when the army clashes, all you hear is all that confusion shit going on. You know.
Wait, you said it had no music?
It had no music.
Oh, so it had the clean and all of that.
All that chopping heads.
It's like bang, right when the sword hits the shield and shit like that. It's just confused. You don't know what the hell's going on.
I think there was one scene like that in Game of Thrones too.
Yeah, there was. The Battle of the Bastards. That episode.
Yeah,
the Battle of the Bastards.
Yeah.
That was brutal too. You know, I'm not gonna spoil it if any brothers haven't seen it. I do recommend that. I do recommend that scene.
All right, it's Isaiah 13 and 3. I have commanded my sanctified ones. I have also called my mighty ones for my anger, even them that rejoice in my highness. The noise of the multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people, a tremendous noise of the kingdom. Tumultuous noise of the kingdom of nations gathered together. And Jehovah 𝙎𝙚𝙖𝙨 of hosts mustered the host of the battle.
He's stirring it up.
They come from a far country, from the end of heaven, even Jehovah 𝙎𝙚𝙖, and the weapons of ignition to destroy the whole land. It's broken arrow. You know, that I remember that movie. You know, gun.
Is it?
Bow and arrow. Isaiah 13 and 7. Therefore shall all the hands be faint. Every man's heart shall melt. It'll be too much for them. You know? And this is my shadow of wings, 12 tribes. 2nd Ezra 16 and 13. For strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow. His arrow that he shooteth are sharp and shall not miss. When they begin to be shot to the ends of the world.
In the fact that it says the arrows that he shooteth are sharp, that's referring to the warhead. And even if the missile's just slightly off, remember, it comes off. The arrowhead comes off of the ICBM, the intercontinental ballistic missile. You know, the warhead comes off from the propulsion, and then it starts falling. But even if it's slightly off target, it comes out and it shock 'em blasts, and it's definitely gonna hit the target. It's gonna hit the target at ground zero, or it's going to miss it slightly off, and the blast radius is gonna wipe it. So no matter what, it won't miss. It's gonna hit right on target.
And there was no,
especially when it's being guided by a chariot, by the angel 𝙎𝙚𝙖𝙨, when those missiles have the spirit of 𝙎𝙚𝙖𝙨.
And there was no arrows in the ancient time about, arrows flying from one end of the earth to the other. Behold, the plagues are sent and shall not return again until they come upon the earth. The fire is kindled and shall not be put out till it consume the foundations of the earth.
Yeah. This place ain't it. The kingdom of the kingdom of 𝙎𝙚𝙖𝙨, the kingdom of Israel, isn't going to be established until this kingdom is out of the way. And all of that can be out of the way until those ICBM missiles happen, chariots happen, and ultimately the deliverance happens. Yo, man, I don't about this other. 𝙎𝙚𝙖𝙨 even speed up things these days, even now, man. Alright? Until then, we gotta keep doing this work. That's what our holy conversation is gonna be about. The matters of the churches. The matters of this truth. Staying diligent.
Like as an arrow which is shot of a mighty archer. Plagues, burning heat.
Thing ain't turn it around. Alright, unless the spirit of
Bless you guys. I was just looking at the Ezekiel, the 12 tribes of Israel.
Yeah.
That's all real, bro.
What tribe you from?
I think
From your father's side.
I think well, my father's part Italian and black. My mother's
There's no parts, but he
is.
Then he'll be Judah.
Judah, okay, yeah.
He'll be Judah.
But it's true, it doesn't stop with that. It doesn't stop with, okay, I'm a tribe, and I'm saying. No, it doesn't work that way. Now what you gonna do about that?
It's like they say God bless and all of that, but they know it's coming, but what are they gonna do about it? They don't ask questions. They don't ask questions like that. You ask questions, we'll offer to teach you.
And now this from KDC, for KDC 3, Isaiah 13:21, and this is the what's going to come out after everything all said and done. And it says, see, Isaiah 13:21, but wild beasts of the desert shall lie there, and their houses shall be full of docile creatures, and owls shall dwell there, and satyrs shall dance there.
Oh, don't.
I just correct myself. And the wild beast of the islands shall cry in their desolate house, and the dragons in their pleasant palaces. And her time is near to come, and her days shall not be prolonged.
Yeah.
So these creatures, this is going to be their home. This is going to be their one of their main wildlife sanctuaries. It's like these animals going to be like, finally, a real sanctuary just for us, pretty much. So,
𝙎𝙚𝙖𝙨 promised these birds a feast.
Right. We're gonna have a great buffet, and in the kingdom,
We're gonna have a feast for the birds.
If he so decides that he wants to escape captivity, which he's not, but it's already in check, that if he decides to escape, everywhere he runs, he's going to run into enemies.
Bro,
And
he
if
can't go anywhere.
If he decides to come over here because it's uninhabited, he's going to find all kinds of creatures up here.
How the hell would he get
Eating
over
his
here?
But it's all in check. His own check. But Esau's just going to be
You could
another.
just take Esau there for a punishment.
Yeah.
Like,
pretty
hey,
much.
you want to do something? You want to do something by yourself? All right, I'll let you be there just for a little while.
Yeah. Esau's just going to become a breakfast burrito for these creatures.
A breakfast burrito. Oh my god.
A meat filled.
Oh, your precept?
Yeah, I got precept.
Yeah, hit that out and then we'll close out.
This is 2 Peter 3, verse 13. Nevertheless, we, according to his promise, look for new heavens and a new earth, wherein dwelleth righteousness.
That's it, man. It says that when the earth is in, when the wicked is in rule, the earth mourns. But when the righteous is in rule, the earth rejoices. Every living being, every little creature, anything from the least to the greatest, they're all going to rejoice because the righteous is in rule. And this is what we're yearning for. All right. So, yeah. So if anybody else got any more precepts,
Yeah, that's still
you got more?
Still a hell of a lot more.
Verse 14.
Oh, we can't get through them all.
Wherefore, beloved, seeing that ye look for such things, be diligent that ye may be found of him in peace, without spot and blameless.
Yeah, be diligent. By doing this work, because we don't know when Yahweh Shah is going to return exactly. So we gotta keep at work. So yeah. All right.
Esau is in the burning heat for punishment.
Especially vocab, that's straight.
Especially vocab.
Through the spirit, Yahweh Shah already revealed that dude was an angel. And brother's been saying it for a very long time. Just for him to reveal it himself. His tongue fell upon himself, that proves that he's an Edomite.
Hold on, wait, what did he say?
His own fame got to him.
What did he say?
Oh, he proved that he's an agent. He revealed it himself. He was hired by the CIA.
So we learned for Malone, the vocabulary that we learned today, that is going to go against him. The vocabulary word is death.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
That once again, that proves that he's an Edomite because his tongue fell upon himself. All right. So imagine what Quran. All right.
Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushua B'Hashem Kakurash.
All right. And once again, the Dhamma Millstone. Shalom to you sincere brothers out there teaching truth with sincerity. Peace and blessings to you brothers as well. Ultimately, for putting all those fired up the scriptures on the comment board. Yeah, it's a really big help. That's for damn sure. But yeah, so the one that this Ken session was edifying unto you brothers and exhorting unto you brothers, to stay in this truth and keep diligent at this work, All right, so I'm gonna leave it off the Shema prayers. So Shema Yasharallah, Yahweh Allah Hayinawa, Yahweh Akhar,
Adabah.
Shalom Akyam, Shalom.
Yeah, bro.